Rain soaked the flatbed. It drummed off the deuce-and-a-half's rusty cab. It ran down the sides of the blue shipping container, half sunk in the marsh, 150 meters south of our position. That was our target on that December evening in 2008. Moby was on the radio running the control. Reed and I were both JTACs, or Joint Terminal Attack Controllers, or those who, from the ground, directed air attacks against the enemy. We were training Moby to be a JTAC too, but it wasn't going well. Only one of the 4 jets that we'd scheduled had shown up, then the storm had blown in, and now the sun had gone down, leaving the sky to the west, in which we searched for the jet, dark gray. "Got him," Reed said. "Where?" Moby asked. Reed pointed. "Right there, turning in." Moby shook his head. "Out over the Alligator River," I added. "That doesn't help," Moby said. The jet, a Hornet, call sign Ripper, appeared low over the trees, turning hard toward the range, its wings wrapped in a bright cloud of white vapor. Rolling out of the turn with its nose pointed at us, the jet became invisible. "Ripper, inbound, heading 103, the pilot radioed. I thought his voice sounded familiar. "What do I tell him?" Moby asked. "Do you have him in sight?" Reed asked. "No." "Then say continue and keep looking." A gust of wind sharpened the rain at our backs. Moby held the radio's hook like a phone as he keyed the mic. After 5 seconds of dead air, he said, "Continue." Navy Dare bombing range was at the center of a wide brackish marsh. At the western end of that marsh, roughly 3 miles from the flatbed, stood a forest of tall pines. Beyond the pines was the Alligator River. So called because that's what everyone thought it looked like from the air. But I'd flown over that river dozens of times, and I'd never seen the alligator. Before becoming a JTAC in 2004, I was a pilot, which was all I'd ever wanted to be. I joined the Navy wanting to fly the F-14 Tomcat like Maverick in Top Gun. I dreamed of speeding into dogfights at Mach 1. After flight school, however, I was assigned to fly a subsonic monstrosity known as the Queer. The Queer was a Vietnam-era bomber that had as a bomb site grease pencil crosshairs on the windscreen. Every now and then I used to fly a Queer to Navy Dare to work with SEAL JTACs. Approaching the range from the west, I'd look down on the river and try to see the alligator. Its jaws, I'd heard, opened north, its tail curved south. Tributaries formed its legs. I didn't see any of that. At the center of the river was a star-shaped island that was supposed to be the gator's eye. I'd begin my target runs over that island, heading east-southeast toward a dead cypress that stood taller than all the pines. I elbowed Moby and pointed at the cypress. "Ripper's over that dead tree now," I said. "There's like 1,000,000 fucking dead trees," Moby said. Ripper approached the target over 500 knots. Vapes thick as whipped cream flashed on the backs of his wings. "Okay, now I see him," Moby said. "Clear him hot," Reed said. "Ripper, 2 miles," the pilot said. He could have been Biff, who I'd known in flight school. "What the fuck's he talking about, 2 miles?" Moby asked. "He wants clearance," I said. Ripper disappeared into a thick, dark squall, the type I would have avoided at all costs because the Queer's engines had a tendency to flame out in heavy precipitation. Something about the shape of the intakes allowed too much water to pass into the compressor, which then sprayed it all into the burner cans. But the Hornet had better intakes, apparently, along with better everything else. Ripper popped out of the squall unscathed. "Clear him," Reed told Moby. Moby palmed the big green radio in his left hand while holding the hook to his ear with his right. He keyed the mic and froze. Sometimes, as soon as he remembered what to say, he'd unfreeze, but this time Moby remained frozen. He stared off the flatbed into a murky rush of sawgrass, with his mouth hanging open and rain dripping off his chin. My hypothesis was that the 10 watts radiating off the transmitter triggered a petit mal in Moby's brain. I imagined the tight waves of radio energy penetrating Moby's skull and short-circuiting his thoughts. Then again, it didn't happen every time, just often enough to cast doubt on his ability to control airstrikes in a combat situation, which was more than enough to jeopardize the plan.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.